Yeah, myself is Gowri Shankar and I'm going to deal with the CSAT. I think you all know about that little bit about that CSAT, right? What is CSAT? First you tell me that, what do you know about CSAT? It's okay, yeah, I got it. See, if I ask anybody that like what is CSAT, the first reply anybody can give is it's a qualifying paper, right? But that's not the complete story about CSAT. There is lot and lot we need to know about that CSAT. Okay, yes, it is, of course it's a qualifying paper, but 70% is who are going to whoever wrote that prelims. So you have GS paper 1 and paper 2. So paper 2 is popularly known as CSAT. Okay, so this is a qualifying paper, but most of the students did not qualify this paper because somewhere in their minds they think that this is a qualifying paper, so we don't need to use so much importance to this. By the way, let me tell you from the beginning that what is CSAT. Completely I'll give you idea about that what is CSAT, right? Basically CSAT means that Civil Services Aptitude Test. This is the Civil Services Aptitude Test. Here this is the full form of CSAT is Civil Services Aptitude Test. And also it is part of the civil service examination for prelims conducted by the UPSC. So in prelims, basically you have two papers, paper 1 and paper 2. Or whatever it is there in the GS paper 1, the prelims, you have like you know the subjects. Which subjects you have in GS paper 1? Prelims, you have an idea, right? Which subjects you have, like geography, polity, economy, science and technology, all this cover under GS paper 1. And in prelims there is one more paper you have, that is GS paper 2, which is popularly known as CSAT. That is what we are talking about now, Civil Services Aptitude Test. Actually it was not there, like this CSAT paper was not there before 2011. It was only introduced in 2011. Why this was introduced? And it clearly mentioned that, so it tests, the CSAT is actually introduced to test an aspirant's analytical skills, comprehension, interpersonal skills, decision making and problem solving abilities, aptitude and reasoning ability. To test all these things together, we have a separate paper for this, like CSAT. Okay, so what is the exam pattern of it? This is the most important thing. So if you don't have any idea about that what is CSAT, how what are the different subjects we have it in, and similarly what is the exam pattern for the CSAT, that I will tell you now. Okay, as I already told you that this is prelims paper 2. Basically you have two prelims, prelims paper 1, that is GS paper 1 and paper 2. Okay, yes, GS paper 2. Okay, so let me tell you that exam pattern for this CSAT. So it is actually objective type. The first one is it is an objective type, and second thing, total number of questions here we have 80 questions. Total how many questions we have? 80 questions. And also each question carries 2.5 mark. Okay, 80 questions we have. Each question carries how many marks? 2.5 marks. Now tell me that what is the total marks then? 80 into 2.5. So which means the total marks are 200 marks. So this paper is about 200 marks. Okay. So 80 questions we have and each question carries how much marks? 2.5 marks. Is there any negative marking? Yes, absolutely. So we have the negative marking for this. What is that negative marking? That negative marking is 1/3 of the maximum marks for the question. 1/3 of the maximum marks means that 1/3 of the 2.5 marks, which means that approximately 0.833. So 0.833 marks is the negative marking. Understand? Suppose if you attempt a question correctly, then you will get 2.5 marks. If you attempt it wrongly, then you will lose 0.833 marks. Okay? And next, exam duration is for 2 hours. So 80 questions, 200 marks. What is the exam duration? 2 hours. 2 hours means that 120 minutes. Okay, so you have the total 120 minutes for this 80 questions. And of course, the language of CSAT paper is either English or Hindi. Okay, we have the paper was given in English or Hindi. And most important thing, nature of paper is qualifying paper. This is the most important point for, regarding the, yes. So regarding this CSAT, the most important point is this is a qualifying paper only. So which means that these marks are not going to consider for the final selection or for the mains. Only you need to get the minimum marks. It's a only qualifying paper. What is the minimum marks? That is 33% of the UPS prelims marks. That is, I mean, like percentage wise it is 33%. Since it is conducted for 200 marks, marks wise if you ask me, then 66 marks. Out of 200 marks, if you can get minimum 66 marks, then you will be qualified in this paper. You understand it? So this is only a qualifying paper. Out of 200, minimum you need to secure 66. Even if you get 100, 150 plus or 200 out of 200, those marks will not be considered. But you must have to qualify this paper. So if you don't qualify this paper, you are not eligible to write the mains, and they will not correct even GS paper 1 also. First they will correct the GS paper 2, and the elimination process begins from this CSAT. If you don't qualify in this paper, they won't just consider the remaining marks. Okay, your journey is over there only. So that's why it is a very much important. Okay, just, and one more thing I'll tell you, that all of us know that this is a qualifying paper. Just because it is a qualifying paper, most of the students don't give much attention to this paper. As a result, every year 70% of the students who are writing this who are writing UPSC claims are not qualifying this paper. 70% is. Almost the elimination is done in the paper 1 only, CSAT paper only. The reason, if you ask me the reason, it's not that difficult. Not that the CSAT paper is difficult. The reason is most of the students are not giving enough attention to this paper. And most of the students, 80 to 90% of the students thought that this is a qualifying paper. We don't require to practice much. But later they will realize it, the importance of this paper. Understand it? My suggestion is, so you can ask your seniors if there are any, like, so your seniors or your brothers or anybody. Already you know that those who attempted this CSAT, who gave that UPSC, please ask them the importance of CSAT. Everyone will suggest you one thing, that don't neglect CSAT paper. The reason is everyone doing the same mistake. Only at the later stage they are realizing the importance of the CSAT. Don't do that mistake. Okay, you understand it? You understand it, right? Okay, so after knowing that pattern of this CSAT, let's look at the different subjects we have. What is the syllabus for the CSAT? Official syllabus, officially UPSC is given the syllabus like this. The CSAT syllabus shall comprise the following broad categories. That is, first one is comprehension. Comprehension means the reading comprehension. Second one is interpersonal skills, including communication skills. Third one is logical reasoning and analytical ability. Fourth one is decision making and problem solving. And fifth one is general mental ability. And sixth one, basic numeracy, which is numbers and their relations, orders of magnitude, etc. Class 10th level. Data interpretation, that is also related to the class 10th level. Okay, so it was mentioned like 6 different objects. Okay. But let me put it in the simple words. What are the different subjects we have? Even though it was mentioned 6, we had only 3 subjects. Okay, CSAT comprises only 3 subjects. This is the official syllabus, and everything comes under the only 3 subjects. That is, the first one is English comprehension. Okay, so we don't have any grammar or anything apart from that comprehension. Strictly it is confined to the comprehension, English comprehension. That is the first one. And the second one is quantitative aptitude. Quantitative aptitude. I'll tell you that what is meant by this one by one. Second one syllabus is quantitative aptitude. The first one is reading comprehension. Second one, the questions will come from quantitative aptitude, or you can also call it as arithmetic. And third one is reasoning. Okay, reasoning, logical reasoning. So only we have these 3 subjects in CSAT. Reading comprehension and quantitative aptitude or arithmetic, and third one is what? Yes, logical reasoning. These 3 subjects. Now we can also see the weightage of these topics so that you will get a clarity about that these all topics. Right. The first thing is, let's talk about the reading comprehension. Now I am showing the data from 2019 to 2024. Let me tell you why I am taking from 2019 even though it was introduced in 2011. The story is different before 2019 and the story is different from 2019. So from 2011 to 2018, CSAT was not a big hurdle for UPSC aspirant. Most of the students qualified. The pass percentage is like 60%, but now it is only 30%. The reason is, earlier most of the questions are related to either comprehension, that is before 2019. So from 2011 to 2018, the questions, total 80 questions we had, right? So out of these 80 questions, most of the questions like 65 to 70 questions are completely related to either comprehension or logical reasoning questions. And most of the students can easily solve the logical reasoning when you compare with the aptitude part. That is the reason why most of the students qualified easily in CSAT before 2019. But the story is completely different from 2019. And from each year from 2019 onwards, the number of questions which are given in quantitative aptitude are more. And even some of the questions are like CAT level and some of the questions are related to the IIT JEE related questions. That is the reason why most of the students did not qualify CSAT paper from 2019. Just look at the trend of all these three subjects. First, let me take the reading comprehension. Okay. So now you have to prepare CSAT from 2019 question paper pattern. Okay, not before 2019. If you see that randomly, if you pick some CSAT paper and if you are going to attempt that paper, you can easily qualify before 2019. But the real story begins from 2019. You will have to pick the questions from 2019. Right? If you look at the reading comprehension, the number of questions which are given in reading comprehension, as I already told you that it is only reading comprehension. So no grammar, nothing. Of course, some grammatical rules are required to understand the passes, but reading comprehension, it is strictly reading comprehension. Reading comprehension means that a passage is given to us and it is followed by the questions, right? You know that, right? Reading comprehension, what is meant by reading comprehension? Just first look at the number of questions in each year. So reading comprehension, 2019 we have 30 questions, 2020, 26 questions, 2021, 27, 22 also 27, 23 also 27, 2024 also 27. So we can expect the same number of questions in coming years also, like somewhere around 27 to 30 or 25 to 30, I would say that 25 to 30, somewhere around 25 to 30 questions are allotted to, out of 70 questions, 25 to 80 questions, out of 80 questions, 25 to 30 questions are reading comprehension. Again, when we talk about the reading comprehension, as we know that a passage is given to us and it is followed by certain questions. But the type of questions which are given are not like easy questions, or see, generally when we studied in our school days, a passage is given and it is followed by some question. Mostly the type of passages are what, like king and queen stories like that. It's not that simple. Okay, even though here a passage is given and it is followed by the question, but the questions are analytical reasoning questions. What is the main idea of the passes? What is the main theme of the passes? What is the central theme of the passes? What are the assumptions can be made from the passes? What is the argument related to the passes? So it's not the direct questions we have in reading comprehension. Most of the questions are related to the analytical reasoning questions. So we have to work out. Okay. And second thing is, when it comes to the reading comprehension, again it depends on the students. If you are good at English, you can somewhat manageable to this section. If you are not good at English, if you study in Telugu medium or any other local medium, the task is not that easy, because comprehension means that it is completely related to the English. So you have to work on it. So one suggestion I'll give you for the reading comprehension is, you can master in reading comprehension. So if you read the newspaper thoroughly, especially the editorial part. Of course, as a UPSC aspirant, anyway, you will do it, right? Being a UPSC candidate, the first and foremost requirement for you is what? Reading the newspaper. analyzing the newspaper every day, right? So especially editorial. The same task would be for reading comprehension also. So by reading the newspaper, by analyzing and by reading editorial especially, you can master in reading comprehension. Okay. Anyways, the main part is related to the logical reasoning and quantitative aptitude. I'll come to the logical reasoning part later. I mean the next subject is what? Logical reasoning. Now we talk about the logical reasoning part. Again, you can see that number of questions which are given in logical reasoning from 2019. If you look at the number of questions in reasoning, 2019 is what? 13 questions, and 2020, 10, 2021, 18, 2022, 9, and 2023 is 11, and 24 is 18. Okay. Okay. Logical reasoning, out of three subjects, the easiest subject is logical reasoning. Easiest subject is logical reasoning. So you can score well from this topic, from this subject. If you have more number of reasoning questions, and that will be huge advantage to you, because logical reasoning is not that difficult. So easily you can manage to do it, the questions from the logical reasoning. And if more number of logical reasoning questions are given to you, and your pass percentage or the chance of qualifying CSAT is more when we have the more number of logical reasoning questions. And this one section, you should not leave any topic from this particular subject, like logical reasoning. Okay. Next, coming to the most important section, that is quantitative aptitude. Earlier, so if you are non-math background student, like if you are not good at quantitative aptitude, basically means that, so we had to deal with some little bit basic maths. Basic maths means that we have the topics like ratios and proportions, percentages, and profit and loss, simple interest, compound interest, this commercial maths. So in daily life we use it, right? So those kind of topics we have in quantitative aptitude. Little bit we had to deal with the mathematics, which means that numbers. So quantitative aptitude, basically if you are a non-math student, there is a problem for you. Most of the students felt problem with quantitative aptitude if they are from non-math background. If you are math background, still some of the students are facing it difficult, but let me tell you that it's not that difficult. Quantitative aptitude part is not difficult, but mostly I'll tell you that what non-math students or those who are afraid of quant part largely depends on these two sections. Before 2019 it would be okay, even if you completely depend on these two sections, you can easily qualify in the paper. But from 2019 the story is different. Now you can see that the number of questions which are given to the quantitative aptitude. See, 2019 is 37, and 2020 39, 2021 35, 22 is 32, 23 is 36, and 24 is 25. Even though 25, see the other section related to this part only, it's not the different section. The other section I wrote it as data sufficiency is also related to the quantitative aptitude only. Okay, so which means that 35 questions. 50% of your question paper is having that only quantitative aptitude. If you think that we can easily qualify by just focusing on reading comprehension and reasoning, I can straight away tell you that you can't. Without practicing quantitative aptitude, without doing the questions from the quantitative aptitude, you don't qualify in this paper. Okay, you require this section also. You need to master in this section also. It's not about that maximum marks you are supposed to get. It's about that, like, so reasoning, of course, we don't know how many questions can be given to reading logical reasoning. See, here sometimes it can be given 9, sometimes it can be 18. Maximum 18, it's not more than 18. Maximum, that too in 2024 only we got that 18 questions. We can't expect more than 18 questions. So you can't completely depend on reasoning and reading comprehension, even though if you are good at English. Let me tell you about that reading comprehension. You thought that, so your English is good, we can easily manage to get the answers. But as I told you that it's not the direct answers. So again, it takes a lot of time. Okay, so you cannot simply depend on these two sections. We'll have to depend on this section also, quantitative aptitude. You can see that number of questions were given 37, 39, 35, 32, 36, and again 35 means it. So almost all 50% of your paper is having that only this, right, quantitative aptitude. So you must have to practice it, whether you are a maths background student or non-math background student, it doesn't matter. You will have to prepare for that quantitative aptitude, right? And next one is data sufficiency is also related to either quantitative aptitude or logical reasoning. I'll tell you that later in coming classes, what is meant by data sufficiency. Some data is given to us, like statements wise it is given, statement A and statement B. Is it, and then we have the questions. The questions would be asked like this: is that statement A is enough to answer the question or not? That is what the questions of data sufficiency. By the way, these data sufficiency questions are related to the quantitative aptitude and logical reasoning. So finally, we can come to a conclusion, like we can expect that 25 to 30 questions from reading comprehension and from logical reasoning. So somewhere around that 10 to 15 on an average, I am saying that quantitative aptitude means that some 35 to 40 questions we will get. Okay. So these three subjects we have it: reading comprehension, that is 25 to 30, and next logical reasoning 10 to 15, and quantitative aptitude we have that 35, minimum 35 to 40 questions. Okay. Is it clear, Aman? Okay, so let's look at the syllabus also once. This is the logical reasoning syllabus. Most important topics in logical reasoning. See, here we have the analogy classification. As I already told you that the most important topics, the most easiest section to score is from logical reasoning. So whatever the number of questions are given to us, we can easily score. And even in this, there are some important topics, like I'll mark it. So number series question, more weightage is given to the number series question. And next, coding and decoding is the most important one. Blood relations, directions test, and sitting arrangement was once important. From the last few years, we are not having questions from the seating arrangement, but still it is an important topic. And next, clocks and calendars, problems on clocks and calendars, and syllogism. These are the most important topics. This is the complete logical reasoning syllabus, and the most important topics are this. If you so you can write it now. Yeah. Please note down the syllabus for the logical reasoning. The first one is analogy. Second one is classification. Third one is series. We have number series and letter series. Next, fourth one is coding and decoding. And next one is blood relation, most important topic. Next, direction test. Next topic is direction test. Next, logical Venn diagram. Logical Venn diagram. Next, alphabet test. Next, seating arrangement. Yeah, mathematical operation is also important. It's simply based on the Bodmas rule. Okay, simple, very simple concept, mathematical operation. So it's simply, if you already know that, it depends on, so we can do it by using the simple application called Bodmas rule. Next one is ranking and time sequence test. Next, problems on clocks and calendars. Problems on clocks and calendars. A very, very important topic. Problems on clocks and calendars. So next, problems and ages. Next, problems on cubes and dice. Problems on cubes and dice. Right. So this is analytical reasoning. Syllogism, next topic is, it's a very, very important topic. Syllogism, it is nothing but logical conclusion. So I think that you already see, you might have seen that like some statements are given, all pens are pencils, some pencils are eraser. So if you write any competitive exam, then definitely you have this type of questions, all pens are pencils, some pencils are eraser. That is what we call syllogism, right? And next, statements, argument, statement, course of action, statements and conclusion. These are the analytical reasoning part question, okay? We have syllogism, statements and arguments, statement, course of action and statement conclusion, which comes under analytical reasoning or critical reasoning. So this is about that logical reasoning syllabus. Weightage is somewhere from 15 to 18 questions. Yeah, okay. Done? Next, we talk about the quantitative aptitude. In quantitative aptitude, there are topics called number system, simplification, sorts and indices, LCM and HCF. This particular topic, number system, is a very, very important topic, because on an average we get the number of questions from it is 15 questions. From this one particular topic we get almost all 15 questions. 15 questions means that how much? 45 marks. Okay, of course this simplifications and sorts and indices, this comes under the number system only. These are the subtopics, simplifications and sorts and indices, or subtopics of number system. Number system means that we have different concept in this number system. Basic numeracy. Basic numeracy means that it's related to the number system questions. On an average, I am saying that in 2023 and 24, we almost all got more than 20 questions from this one particular topic, number system. The most important topic in entire CSAT is number system topic. So we have a weightage of 15 questions, minimum we will get 15 questions from this particular topic. So that's why we spend most of the time on this number system. So when you are preparing for quant, you should give maximum importance to this topic. Number system is the first major important topic, and you should leave no question from this topic, number system topic. You should cover each and every question. And the next one is LCM and HCF. Next question is ratios and proportion. Ratio and proportion. Next, percentages. Percentages, the problems on percentages. Next, partnership. Partnership is also an application of both ratios and proportions and percentages. Next, profit and loss. Next topic is profit and loss. Next, averages. Averages. Next, time and distance. Time and distance. Next, time and work. Time and work. Next, simple interest and compound interest. Simple interest and compound interest. Next, set theory. Next most important topic is PNC, which means permutations and combination. The most important topic after number sales. In 2023, we got 12 questions from this topic. Permutations and combination. PNC means that permutations and combination. probability. So mensuration. Again, the most important topic from out of all these topics is what? Number system. The first importance is given to the number system. Next importance is permutations and combinations. Next we have the ratios and percentages, profit and loss. So these topics will be covered in one way. So because all the other topics are applications of ratios and proportions or percentages. Okay. But the most important topic is number system. We almost have 15 to 20 questions from this topic. Okay, ma? Right. So this is about the quantitative aptitude syllabus. And next, coming to the reading combination. Already I told you that just a passage is given to you and it is followed by that question. Okay. Anyways, how do we prepare for CSAT? First, we are going to deal with all these topics. Once all the topics are done with basics, we start from the basics to the whatever it is required for the CSAT, we are going to do it. And the most important thing in CSAT preparation is solving previous year questions from 2011 to 2024. Okay. From 2011 to 2024. Okay, after this year you can also take that 2025 paper. Why it is so important? When you look at the previous year papers, or 2019 to 2024, most of the questions are repeated. Repeated in the sense, not the numerical numbers, at least the models are repeated. Most questions are repeated. If you thoroughly practice from 2011 to 2024, if you practice each and every question from 2011 to 2024, you can easily qualify in CSAT. From 2011 to 2024, of course, you need to know the concept. Without knowing, see, some problem if you do it, let's say that some factors you are finding out the factors. Okay, application related questions will be given. Okay, so what is the what are the concepts behind that particular concept? Okay, so what is the concept behind that particular problem? In that way, if you prepare from 2011 to 2024, you can easily qualify that CSAT paper. So my recommendation is you can go through 2011 to 2024 after all the topics are done. Okay, anyways, we are going to do minimum 80 to 85% of all previous year questions. In classroom only, we are going to do that 2011 to 2024, all questions. 80 to 85% of the questions will be done in classroom only. Okay. So after that, you can directly go to the mark test. Mark test, that's enough. But the first thing is you have to go through all papers from 2011 to 2024. You should not leave even single question. Then you can easily qualify that CSAT. Understand? Okay, so let me show you that what kind of questions will be given to you. And I'll take some previous year questions. You try to solve it. Okay? I give you some questions which are asked in previous year papers. Let's solve it. So these don't require any preconceptual things. Like you don't require to know concepts. These problems you can easily solve it. You don't require to know any concept to do these problems. Okay, basic maths. Yeah, anything like basic math you can use it. See, read the question. And these questions are previous year questions. Please read the problem. And you don't require that any like concepts to solve this problem. I randomly choose some problems from the previous year questions. Say a gardener has 1,000 plants. He wants to plant them in such a way that the number of rows and the number of columns remains the same. What is the minimum number of plants that he needs more for this purpose? For the first, let us understand the problem. It is given that what? A gardener has 1000 plants. And what is the condition given here? He wants to plant them in such a way that the number of rows and the number of columns remains the same. What does it mean that? Suppose if the gardener wants to plant in 2 rows, the number of columns should be also 2 columns. You understand it? So the number of rows and the number of columns should be same. See, suppose let's say that if I take the 2 rows and 2 columns, so what are the total number of plants he can plant? 4, right? And similarly, let's say that the gardener is planting in 3 rows and 3 columns. Then what is the total number of plants he can plant? So 3, 3, 3. So total 9. Here it is given that already he had 1000 plants with him, but he wants to plant them in such a way that what? The number of rows and the number of columns should remain same, like this. Okay? For doing this, what is the minimum number of more plants required to get? Okay? So one thing we understand from this, what is that? If he wants to plant them in 2 rows and 2 columns, the total number of plants is what? 4. If he wants to plant them in 3 rows and 3 columns, the total number of plants is what? 9. So 2, 4 means that what? 2 square. 3 rows, 3 columns means that what is the final number? 9. Suppose let's say that he wanted to plant them in 4 rows and 4 columns. What are the total number of plants he can plant? 60. So in order to satisfy this condition, the number of rows and the number of columns remains the same. What concept will take it here? Rows, number of rows, number of columns, same means that what? The final answer, final number must be, it's a perfect square number. See, 4 means that it is a perfect square number, 9 means that a perfect square number, right? Next 16, perfect square number. You know the perfect squares, right? So in order to satisfy that condition, the number of rows and the number of columns should remain same. The final answer must be what? It must be a perfect square number. Okay. Now the question is, the gardener has already 1000 plants. How many more plants he required to make it as a perfect square? 1000, then we have to take that what is the nearest square number from 2000 to, what is the nearest square number for 1000? 1024. The nearest square to 1000 is what? 1024. So it can be written as 32 square. Okay. So how many more plants are required? 24 more plants are required. So 24 is the answer. Okay. So before you start the preparation for CSAT, either for quant and logical reasoning, you must have to do one thing. That is, you have to by heart the squares from 1 to 35 minimum and 1 to 20 cubes minimum, and we need to know the prime numbers from 1 to 100. This is the first thing we will have to do. Only after that you need to start your preparation for CSAT. Okay, so I'll write it here. That is the first task you will have to do. Because most of the questions are related to the perfect squares or perfect cubes. Okay, or prime number. So what is the task before you start the preparation for CSAT? The first thing is you need to know the squares. You need to by heart the squares from 1 to 35. And then 1 to 20 cubes, and then 1 to 100 prime numbers. Okay, you need to know those numbers like 1 to 35 squares and 1 to 20 cubes and 1 to 100 prime numbers. In aptitude, suppose let's say that you are doing certain problem, that there you need to find out 23 square. What is 23 square? What is the value of 23 square? If you know it, please tell me. Anyone? 529 is the 23 square value. At least in aptitude, so suppose if you are doing a certain problem, there you require to know the value of 23 square. There at least you can multiply the numbers 23 into 23, right? But whereas in the logical reasoning, there is a topic called series. You wrote it already. Series means that number series questions, related questions we have. There the series numbers are given in this way. So you need to identify the numbers. Like for example, series numbers. Okay, certain numbers are given in this way and we need to find out the next number. All these numbers follow a logic. First we need to identify that logic. Based on that logic we need to find out the next number. Here you can see that if you can identify these numbers as square numbers, then you can able to write it as 21 square, 22 square, 23 square and 24 square, right? What is the next number then? 25 square. See, these numbers, you have to know that these numbers are square numbers, right? You have to know that all these numbers are square numbers. Unless and until you know the square numbers, you can't able to do it, right? So next number is what? 25 square. 25 square is 625. Okay, that is the reason why we had to know this 1 to 35 squares, minimum 1 to 20 cubes and 1 to 100 prime numbers. Actually, we need to identify the numbers. For example, if I give you that 441, when you see the number, then immediately you would have to tell that that number is a square number. Understand? And that way we had to learn it. Even for this problem, we understand the concept. To make it number of rows and number of columns same, the final number should be a perfect square. We know that concept. But what we don't know is the square number. Which number is the square number? 1000, what is the nearest square number? So how do you know that? Only if you remember all these things, then you can easily do it. 1000, how much if you add that, the final number is what? A perfect square. For 1000, if you add 24, then the resulting number is 1024. 1024 is a perfect square. You understand it? Okay. So please do this one. Okay. So you will have to start your preparation first by taking all this, by remembering this. Okay. Please note down this. 1 to 35 squares and 1 to 20 cubes and 1 to 100 prime numbers. Prime numbers is also very, very important. So how many prime numbers are there from 1 to 100? Yes, there are 25 prime numbers. So please note down that prime numbers also, 1 to 35 squares and 1 to 20 cubes and 1 to 100 prime numbers. For most of the problems, these three are very, very useful. And of course, for the logical reasoning part, anyway we had to know that. Because the series are related to the squares or cubes or prime numbers. Okay, ma, got it? This is also a previous year question. Please read the problem. We don't require any extra information for this. These are the basic questions only. I took out some random questions which are based on the basic level. So please read the problem and try to answer it. You can try. So what is given here? A sum of 700 rupees has to be used to give 7 cash prizes to the students of a school for their overall academic performance. If each prize is 20 rupees less than its preceding price, what is the least value of price? You understand the question first? First in CSAT, you can see that very huge questions. Okay. So how many questions we have in CSAT? 80 questions. 80 questions. Each question carries that 2.5 marks. Okay. So what is the total duration? 120 minutes or 2 hours, right? Now maximum how many questions you can attempt? 60, 70 on an average.
45.
Yeah, basically it's not more than 50 to 60. Okay, on an average 40 to 50 questions. Most of this is an average number of questions attempting in CSAT. Okay, some 40 to 50 questions on an average. I'm saying that. Like 1 to 2% of the students only can cross that 50 questions, but on an average I would say that 40 to 50 questions, okay, any student can attempt. Suppose let's say that you attempt that 40 questions. See here, since we have the negative marking, accuracy is also important. Let's say that you attempt 40 questions accurately with 90% accuracy. Let's say that Then how much time you require for each question? How much? Yes. Right? 40 questions, the total time is 120 minutes. So which means that for each question you can spend 3 minutes of time, right? Okay, let's say that you attempt 50 questions. Then you tell me that how much time you can attempt? That approximately 2.5 minutes. Let's say that 2.5 minutes. Okay. Even if you attempt 60 questions, how much time you can spend on each question? 2 minutes. And this is the advantage with CSAT. You can spend most of the time to the question, each question. Okay. It's not for other exam. It's not happen for the other exams. When you write any competitive exam like banking exam or SSC exam, like for anything, for any other exams. So you had to solve the question within half a minute. Within half a minute, you have to solve the question. But for CSAT, it's not like that. We have good enough time to solve any question. So you can take that advantage. And even the type of questions which are given to you is not like one statement or two statement. Like it is some like good 3 to 4 statements, right? When we have this type of questions, like you can see that 3 statements or 3 sentences questions we have, 2 sentences or 3 questions or 4 sentences questions we have. Okay. So first thing in CSAT is we have to read the question perfectly. We have to understand the question perfectly. You can spend your time on it, no problem, because it is not like other exams. You can spend your time on it for reading and analyzing the question. Okay, understand it. So here if you read the question, you can spend your time and tell me the correct answer. You can easily do it. 40. 40. Okay, what is given in this problem? A sum of 700 rupees has to be, so 700 rupees is an amount. There is an amount of 700 rupees. Has to be used to give 7 cash prizes to the students of a school for their overall academic performance. Okay, which means that in simple words I would say that there is an amount of 700 rupees and this 700 rupees has to be distributed among how many people? 7 people. And the condition is given. What is the condition here? If each price is 20 rupees less than its preceding price. Okay, understand that statement? If each price is 20 rupees less than its preceding price. For example, let's take that a price value is 100 rupees. Then what is the next price value? No, so if each price is 20 rupees less than its previous one. So if I take that, let's say that some price value is 100 rupees. What is the next price value? 80. What is the next price value? 60. What is the next price value? 40. Likewise, you understand it. So in that way, each price is like that, 20 rupees less than the previous price. In that way, what is the least value of the price? What is the least value of the price? We need to find out that the price which has the least value. Okay, how do we solve it? We know the total amount. The total amount is what? 700 rupees. And also this 700 rupees is distributed among how many people? 7 people. Okay, so we don't know the initial value. When we don't know any value, what we do? In mathematics, yes, we always take that x value. In mathematics or in aptitude, if you don't know any value, we always take that x. Whatever you don't know, so you take that x. Since I don't know what is the initial value of the price, let's say that value is x. Suppose if I take that the first price value is x, what is the next value? X minus 20. Next value? X minus 40. Next value? X minus 60. Next value? X minus 80. Likewise, how many prices we have? 7 prices. We need to write that 7 prices. X minus 100, X minus 120. Now you see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 prices we have. Right. This total value is equal to how much? 700. Right. Now you add it. So how many x? So there 7x. So this total value we need to add. Okay. So 120 minus 8 is 200, 300, 400 and 20. If you add all these values, if you add all the expressions, then how much we get? You can add it. If you add it, we will get the 7x minus 420. This 7x minus 420 value is equal to how much? 700 only, because this 700 only distributed among the 7 people, right? So 7x value is equal to what? Minus 420. When you take it to the other side, it becomes what? 1120. Minus 420. When you take it to the other side, 1120. Therefore, x is equal to what? 1120. So then 7 1 ja 760. So what is the value? X value is 160. Okay. So what is the answer? After getting this value, most of the students pick that 160 as the correct answer. But basically, what is the question? What is the least value of the price? Here we are not supposed to find out that x value. We are asked to find out what? What is the least value? Among these values, what is the least value? Yes, x minus 120 is the least value. So which means that what? We need to find out that x minus 120 value only. X minus 120 value means that what? 160 minus 120. 40. So answer is what? The answer is 40. Okay, ma. So answer is 40. So you don't require to write all these values. So you can think, you can do it in your mind only. It depends on if you are good at analyzing that problem. If you can comprehend the problem in a right way, so you can do it in your mind only without writing all these steps. But still, even if you write all these steps, it won't take much time. As you already know that minimum we have 2 to 2.5 minutes for each question. Okay, so that's why even the type of problem which are given to you in CSAT is what? It's based on this analyzing question. I mean interpretational skills. So it depends on how you interpret the problem. So for that you first need to comprehend the problem. You need to understand the problem. Right? You understand it? Okay, let's look at the next one. Next problem. At least you try to get an idea. Okay. If we get an idea, we can approach the problem. First step is we need to understand the problem. And after that, so what approach we can go? First you try to understand the problem. What is the problem here? What is the total number of digits printed if a book containing 850 pages is to be numbered from 1 to 850? You understand the question first? What is the question here? A book is having 1 to 850 pages. Then how many total digits we use from the number 1 to 850? Okay, first of all, do you know the difference between digit and a number? Here digit is different, number is different. 0 to 9 are called digits. 0 to 9 are called what? Digits. If you take that 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. All these are called digits. When we combine the digits, these are called numbers. So from 10 to, if you 10, you understand it? So we are not simply counting from 1 to 999. We are also counting that, yes, 4-digit number. 1000 also when we count, in 1000 how many digits we have? 4 digits we have. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So which means that what? 2893. So the right answer is 2893. Okay. So you also had the option 2892. 1 to 9 and 10 to 9. How did you get 2892?
I have made 1000 minus 100. That's why I thought.
Okay.
Instead of 4 digit, I added only 3 digits.
3 digit. Now got it? Right. So answer is 2893. Yes, 2893 is the right answer. Okay, next you see this question, fourth one, and this type of questions we have minimum 3 to 4 questions every year. In fact, these are the very simple, if you understand this, these type of questions are very simple to solve. Okay, because we can assume the numbers for that. So we have minimum 3 to 4 questions. Every year we have minimum 3 to 4 questions based on these models. So please read the problem here. X and Y are natural numbers other than 1 and y is greater than x, some conditions are given for both x and y, then which of the following represents the largest number? 4 options are given: x, y, x by y, y by x, and x plus y by xy. Okay, these are actually related to the assumed numbers. We can assume some numbers for that. Every year we have minimum 3 to 4 questions based on these models. First of all, what is meant by natural number? Positive numbers starting from 1. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to so on infinity. Natural numbers means starting from 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to so on infinity. It is given that x and y are natural numbers, and also other than 1 is given. Y is greater than x. For this type of problems, we always assume the numbers for those variables, like x and y are given, right? So we assume the values for that x and y. What is given here? X and y are natural numbers other than 1. Other than y, 1 means that what? Other than 1 means that, as we know that natural number starting from 1, but he clearly mentioned that other than 1. Other than 1 means that which numbers we can take it for x and y? Starting from 2. So 2, 3, for x and y, we can take the values as what? 2, 3, 4 and so on, infinity. Infinity numbers. Okay. So any number you can choose for this x and y, and of course there is one more condition. What is that? When you are assuming the number, there is one more condition, that is y is greater than x. What are the values you assume for x and y? You always make sure that y should be for this problem. Okay, according to the problem we will go. So for this problem it is given that y is greater than x, so y is always greater than x. So if this type of questions are given, then you always assume the values. Assume the values. Based on the assumption values, minimum we have 3 to 4 questions. In this way, this type of questions are always given, right? Minimum 3 to 4 questions in CSAT. See which numbers you can assume for x and y. Any number from 2 to infinity. No condition, you can assume any number, but it is always better if you take the least numbers. If you take the least numbers, smallest numbers, our calculation would be easy. You understand? You should always take that least number. Of course, you can assume any numbers, but if you take that least possible numbers, your calculation will be easy. Right? So now you tell me that least possible value of x, 2. Least possible value of y, 3. So which means that I am taking that values, x is equal to what? X is equal to 2, y is equal to what? 3. If I take these values, now what is the question? Which of the following is the largest number? First one is what? Option A is representing xy. Xy means that what? 2 into 3. 2 into 3 is 6. Okay. Next, second one is what? B. B is x by y. 2 by 3. Not required that exact value, but we know that it is less than 1 only. What we are finding out here? Largest number only. So you can eliminate it, or otherwise it will be 0.6. Right. Next, option C. Y by x means that what? 3 by 2. Y value is 3, x value is 2. 3 by 2 means that what? 1.5. And D value. What is D value? X plus y divided by xy. X plus y. X plus y means that what? 2 plus 3 is 5 divided by xy means that what? 6. 5 by 6 means that even it is also less than 1. So still if you want that value, so 0.833 will get it. So we got all the values, right? Now among these numbers, 6, 0.6, 1.5, 0.833, what we need to find out? Largest number we need to find out. Which is the largest value? 6 is the largest value. So answer is what? Option A. Option A is, so right answer is what? xy. Okay. According to the condition, we will take that x and y values. We always assume the values. And definitely we have minimum 3 to 4 questions from this model, like assumption values. Okay, ma'am. Right, let's look at the next problem. See, so we are doing all previous year questions. Next problem. 136 is added to 5b7 and sum obtained is 7a3, where a and b are integers. It is given that 7a3 is exactly divisible by 3, then the only possible value of b is what? The reason why I asked to solve the previous year question is, the same model questions are repeated almost 2-3 times. Previous questions will be repeated. See, exact model questions was asked in 2024, 23 and 22. One three six is added to 5b7 and sum obtained is 7a3, where a and b are integers. It is given that 7a3 is exactly divisible by 3, then the only possible value of b is what? One three six is added to 5b6. It is given that, see, it's simple addition. 136 is added to which number? 5b7. Then the sum obtained is what? 7a3. Okay. Simple addition. We know the addition, right? So here it is given that 136 is added to 5b7 and the resulting number is what? Resulting sum it is given as 7a3. And also given that where a and b are integers. A and b are integers. What is the meaning of integer? Yeah, so integer means that the numbers are 0, positive values, negative values without having any decimals or without having any fractions. Which means that 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5. All these numbers are called integer numbers, where you don't see any decimals or any fractions. If any number does not have any decimal or any fraction value, so which means that pure numbers. Like if you take the 3 is an integer, 5 is an integer, 7 is an integer. These are all called integer numbers. What here is, it is saying that a, b are integer numbers, which means that these numbers are a and b are not fractions or not decimals. And also it is given that this 7a3 is exactly divisible by 3. The 7a3 is exactly divisible by 3. If it is exactly divisible by 3, then what is the possible value of p? Then what is the possible value of p? Okay, this type of questions we had it in previous year questions multiple times. It is also related to the divisibility rule. Okay, so apart from doing the previous year questions, I already mentioned that you also need to know the concepts. Here this question is, it is given that 7a3 is divisible by 3. First of all, you tell me that if 7a3 is divisible by 3, what is the value of a? What could be the value of a? I'll tell you the divisibility rule of 3. How do we know that a certain number is divisible by 3 without dividing the whole number? Is there any way that we say that a particular number is divisible by 3 without dividing the whole number? No. So actually we have studied in our school days divisibility rules. Divisibility rules means that, so we don't require to divide the whole number with certain number. Okay, there are divisibility rules. For example, if I take some number like 4, 5, 6, 2, 1, 0, 4. Okay. Is this number is divisible by 2? Is this number is divisible by 2? How? You did not divide the whole number, but still you are saying that the number is divisible by 2. How? By using the divisibility rule. What is the divisibility rule of 2? The last digit is 2 or divisible by 2. So which means that if the last digit is 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, even number, then we can say that the complete number is divisible by 2, right? Similarly, for every number, for each number there are divisibility rules. Okay. The divisibility rule of 3, the divisibility rule for 3 is, if the sum of the digits in the given number is divisible by 3, then the whole number is divisible by 3. You understand? So, which means that suppose if I take this number 432, I want to know that whether this number is divisible by 3 or not. You don't require to divide the whole number with 3. Just simply the divisibility rule of 3 is add the number 4 plus 3 plus 2. What is that? Add the digits. Add the digits in the given number. 4 plus 3 is 7, 7 plus 2 is what? 9. 9 is divisible by 3, right? So we say that this complete number is divisible by 3. So the divisibility rule of 3 is, if the sum of the digits in the given number is divisible by 3, then we say that the complete number is divisible by 3. Based on that, it was mentioned that this 7a3 is divisible by 3. What should be the possible numbers of a? 7 plus 3 is 10 already. Then what should be the a values? 2. 7 plus 3 plus 10, 10 plus 2 is 12, 12 is divisible by 3. But 2 is not the only number. So since it is divisibility rule of 3, we are applying 5, even if you take that with a difference of 3. See, 7 plus 5 is 12, 12 plus 3 is 15, 15 is divisible by 3, 7 plus 8 is 15, 15 plus 3 is what? 18. It is also divisible by 3. Alright. Of course, once if you start the classes, then you will know that the divisibility rules and how we will solve the questions. All we come to know that. But as of now, you see that a value first, let me check with 2. You can take that one value, that's enough. A value, suppose if I take that 2. Now you see that 6 plus 7 is what? 13. 13 means that 3 comes here. We know the normal addition, right? 6 plus 7 is 13. 1 is carried forward. Next, in this place, what is the number we are taking? What is the digit we are taking? 2. Okay. 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 plus how much we get? 2 here? 2, 4 plus 6 are? 4 plus 8. We may not get exactly 2, but we can also get that 12, right? 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 plus how much? We can get 2 here. 2 we can't get it, but 12 we can get it, right? 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 plus 8 is 12. Okay. Then 1 is carry forward. Now you see that 5 plus 1, 7 we get. So which means that at this place of B, which value we are taking? 8. Okay. So answer is what? What is the only possible value of B? 8 is the only possible value of B. Which means that basically here we use the concept of divisibility rule. Divisibility rule of 3. By using that, and after that it is a simple addition. Okay, ma'am. Divisibility rules is very, very important because all previous year questions, directly or indirectly, we had the questions based on the divisibility rules. Okay. So these all comes under the number system topic only. As I already mentioned, that number system has a very good weightage, that is minimum 15 questions, which means that 45 marks. Okay, so 45 means that 40 to 45 marks weightage is only given to the number system topic. Okay. Let's look at one more problem. Yes. As I told you, we have minimum 3 to 4 questions based on the assumption values. These are just 2023-22 questions only. All recent year questions only we are doing. You can see that assumption values. Just read the problem and try to tell me the answer. a digit x is greater than 3 is divisible by 3. There is a number or a digit which is represented by x, it is greater than 3, and also it is given that that x is divisible by 3 but not divisible by 6, then which of the following is divisible by 4? So first of all, we have to assume the value for x based on the condition. What value we can assume for x? See, take the condition one by one. Assumption values are very simple. Assumption based questions are very simple. Don't leave the type of questions. You take one by one. What information is given? What is given? So x is greater than 3. We are taking the values of x. And what conditions are given for x? X is greater than 3. And also one more condition is x must be divisible by 3. And there is one more condition, what is that? That should not be divisible by 6. By satisfying all these conditions, we will have to choose a value for x. We have to assume we have to assume an x value. And after that, which among the following values are divisible by 4? First, you tell me that what is the value we can assume for x? 6. But the condition is given that the x value should not be divisible by 6 if you 9. Okay. See here, a digit x is greater than 3. What is given here? The digit x is greater than 3. X is greater than 3. When x is greater than 3, immediately what should be the values, possible values of x? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? 9. All these are possible values of x, right? Next, what is the other condition? It must be divisible by 3. It must be divisible by 3 means that which values are divisible by 3? 6, 9, these numbers, right? So I can take that the numbers are x value, possible numbers are 6, 9, 12, so all these numbers. And also there is one more condition, what is that? But not divisible by 6. But not divisible by 6 means that among these numbers 6 and 12, these numbers are not divisible by 6, right? Then which number finally left with x? 9. Okay. So then finally which number I can assume for x? 9 can be assumed for x. You understand it? By looking at the problem, by taking the condition, we will have to assume the values. We will do more number of questions, right, related to this, because we have 3 to 4 questions. Then the condition is here about that question. Then after that the question is about which of the following is divisible by 4. Okay. After taking that x value, then we have to check that which numbers among the given numbers are divisible by 4. See, we got that x value is what? 9. So now you take the values of a, b, c, d. A value is what? 2 into x. 2x value is what? 2 into 9 means that 18. What is the b value? 3 into x. 3 into x means that 3 9s are 27. What is the c value? 2x plus 4. 2 9s are 18. 18 plus 4 is what? 22. So what is the d value? 3 9s are 27. 27 plus 28. We got the values a, b, c, d. Now what is the question? Which of the following is divisible by 4? 18, 27, 22, 28. Among these numbers, which number is divisible by 4? 28. So which means that what? D means that 3x plus 1. Okay, you got it? And we will have to practice this type of questions because as I told you already that we have minimum 3 to 4 questions based on that. Right? This is 23 question only, 2023. And there is one more question. See, we have one more question based on that. Please read the question. For what value of n, the sum of the digits and the number 10 power n plus 1 is 2? For what value of n, the sum of the digits, this is in the number. You write it as in the number. First, please try to understand the problem. For what value of n, the sum of the digits in the number 10 power n plus 1 is 2. Please, do you understand the question? And tell me the answer. Try it. Just try. What could be the answer? For n is equal to 0 only. Okay, see here the question is for what value of n. So which means that which value if you give it to n, then the sum of the digits in the expression 10 power n plus 1 is 2. Okay, 10 power n plus 1, the digit sum is what? 2. First let me take the first one for n is equal to 0. Okay. If I take that n is equal to 0, then can I get the digit sum is 2. See 10 power 0 means that here n value is what? 0 is given. 10 power 0 means that what? N to the power of 0. X to the power of 0 value is what? 1. N to the power of 0 value is 1. If the power is 0, the value n to the power of 0 is what? 1. If I take that n is equal to 0, 10 to the power of 0 is what? 1. 1 plus 1 is what? 2. So which means that digit sum is what? 2. Next you take that. So n is equal to 0, we are getting digit sum is what? 2. Correct only. But here if you look at this condition, for n is equal to 0 only is given. Then in such condition only is very dangerous option. Okay, only means that so it's confined to that particular value only. So whenever you see that only, then you have to look for the other options. Is there any possibility to get the answer for the remaining options? If you take the second one, for any whole number value n, for any whole number means that what? N should be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, any number if you take that, can I get that digit sum is 1, 2, let's say that, n is equal to 0 already take. So if I take that n is equal to 1, then what is the final value? 10 to the power of 1, that is 10, 10 plus 1 is what? 11. If I take that n is equal to 1, then I will get that final expression value is 11. What is the digit sum here? Because here the sum of the digits is given. 1 plus 1 is equal to what? Again we get the digit sum is 2. If I get that, if I take that n is equal to 2, let's say that, if I take that n is equal to 2. So 10 square is what? 100, 100 plus 1 is what? Then the expression becomes 101. Even in this case also the digit sum is what? 1 plus 1, 2 only. Suppose let's say that n is equal to 3. Then 10 cube value is what? 1000. 1000 plus 1 is what? 1001. So again the answer is what? 1 plus 1 is 2. So which means that if you take that any whole number value n, that is n is equal to 0 to any number, still you get that the total digit sum value is what? 2. So option B is the correct answer. Even in this option C, for any positive value n only, when only word is given, not for this problem, please remember, for any problem, if only condition is given, please look after it one more time. Okay, because when only is given, so it is restricted or confined to only that option or that number. Okay, so this number, this problem, if you take that, it is not confined to only n is equal to 0 or n is equal to 1 or n is equal to 2. So it is for most of the numbers. So answer is what? The second option is the right answer. Again, this is also assumed based method or just substitution based method questions only. Okay. And this one, which is the largest number among the following? How we solve it? Tell me. Option A. How?
Power minus.
Even for the remaining options also we have the power minus. Okay, suppose if 2 power minus 3 is given, How do we write that 2 power minus 3 value? So this comes under the number system only. X power minus m, it will be written as 1 by this property we know. Again, we have that again in previous year papers, we have the questions based on it. We have powers and indices, right? There is one topic called powers and indices. It's related to that. So when x power minus m is there, so we can write it as 1 by x to the power of m. And similarly, if 1 by x to the power of minus m is there, then we can write it as x to the power of m. And we had the repeated questions based on these two. X power minus m is equal to 1 by x power m. 1 by x whole to the power of minus m is equal to what? X to the power of m. If any number is in the form of 1 by x whole to the power of minus m, then we can able to write it as x power m. Here you see that the first value is what? 1 by 2 whole to the power of 1 by 2 whole to the power of minus 6 only, right? Which means that what? It is in the form of 1 by x whole to the power of minus m. When some expression is in the form of 1 by x whole to the power of minus m, how we write? X to the power of m only, right? Here 1 by 2 whole to the power of minus 6 means that what? We can write it as 2 power 6. 2 power 6 means that what is the value? 64. Okay, got it. And similarly 1 by 4 whole to the power of minus 3 means that how we can write it? Tell me, 1 by 4 whole to the power of minus 3, again 1 by x whole to the power of minus m. So we can write it as 4 cube. 4 cube value is equal to what? 64. Next 1 by 3 whole to the power of minus 4 means that how we can write it? 3 power 4. Just simply just remove the power. 3 power 4 value is what? 81. And 1 by 6 whole to the power of minus 2 means that we can write it as 6 square. 6 square value is equal to 36. Now what is the question here? Which is the largest number? So we got the numbers 64, 64, 81 and 36. So what is the largest number here? So answer is what? 81. And we need to know that x power minus m can be written as 1 by x power m, or 1 by x whole to the power of minus m can be written as what? X power m. Okay. These are all related to the number system questions only. And basically we have the, if you prepare it like daily, if you spend some time on CSAT, it won't be a difficult task. But the thing is, once again I'll repeat it. So don't take CSAT in a simple way. You have to give importance to this. And you can ask your seniors or those who already attempted the previous years. Please ask them. They will give you that good idea about that CSAT. I have seen the students who got very good marks in GS paper 1, like 140, 130. They also did not crack it. The common mistake everyone is doing that they did not give importance to this in the beginning stage. Only they are giving importance at the final stage. Like let's say that if your exam is in May month and they started their preparation for CSAT in the month of March. So it's not advisable, and you don't clear CSAT if you start your preparation in March or February. So you will have to parallelly prepare for CSAT. Don't think that it is just a qualifying paper. If your elimination starts from here only. Okay, so don't make that CSAT hurdle for your UPSC. Okay, so you'll have to start from the beginning only, right from the beginning only. Okay, anyways, in class, once if the class has started, we are going to start from the basics to what advanced level, whatever it is required for the CSAT. Okay, completely. Each and every point we will discuss in the classroom. It's no problem at all. Even if you have any doubt or if you are feeling difficulty in maths or anything, logical reasoning, so please feel free to ask me. Okay, right? So this is about that clear idea about CSAT. If you have any doubts, you ask me. One thing you do that before we start this CSAT, of course it takes time because first we go with the GS papers and later 2-3 months later we will start the CSAT paper. And before that, you please remember the squares, cubes and prime numbers. Okay, so that we can easily do. And also your calculation should be good. I find out that most of the students are facing difficulty in, see, they understand the concept, they are able to do all the problems, but only the problem is with their calculation. At 80% of the students, I have seen that they're feeling difficulty, they are facing difficulty in calculation part. So you also work out on the calculation. Calculation means that plus minus into division. You need to do the multiplications fast, addition fast, so that we can easily do it. Otherwise it takes time. Okay, right.